We're back at the Lodge Card House in Round Rock, Texas, looking to run up a stack. We're in for $300. First hand a note, we look down at pocket tens from early position. I raise it up to $12. We get one caller and pretty straightforward so far to the flop. Comes 9-8 deuce. Overpair for us here and no reason to slow down. I bet $12 into 27. The opponent puts in the call. Turn with 51 in it comes the ace of clubs. I decide to check and call a bet here, but when the opponent has the option to do so, he checks behind. The river now comes the six of clubs, and once he checks behind on the turn, it's likely that he has a busted straight draw or a one pair type of hand that can still pay off a small bet. So that's what I do. I bet $11, and sure enough, he calls. We show our hand, he mucks, and we're off to a good start here and scoop that $73 pot. A local legend and fellow Chicago native, Chi-Town Cat, sits down at the table to our left and gives me his card protector as a gift. If you don't know who he is, I'll leave this clip right here for you to get familiar.
Uh-oh, all in for Chi-Town Cat with Queen Jack suited.
And that is a great flop for the Chi-Town Cat.
Great flop.
Many eights.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Chi-Town Cat.
Oh my God.
And the White Claw comes out.
The victory's doing a little victory lap.
390 now in our stack. We look down at pocket jiggies from middle position. Under the gun raises to 5. My right calls the $5 bet, and I 3-bet now to $20, looking to thin the field out a little bit. But this is Texas, and ain't nothing thin over here. Both players call. Three ways to the flop with 63 in the pot. Comes 6-4 deuce, 2 hearts. Overpair again for us here, and the action checks to me. I think it's fine here to either check or bet. So I decide on the latter. I bet $21. The under the gun calls, but my right folds. Going heads up to the turn here with 104 in the pot comes the Jack of Spades. A really good card for us, not only because we make top set, but no flush or straight draws come in. And we now beat slow paid sets and 2 pairs. Under the gun decides this is a good card for him to bet now, strangely enough, and leads into us for $30. And what this smells like to me is he's trying to set his price for a drawing type of hand, but if he wants to try and hit it, I'm going to charge him. I raise him up to $85. The opponent thinks about it for a little bit, but ends up folding and shows 2 pairs, 6 deuce. Wow, nice turn card for us there. We suck out on him, and surprising he folded that though on the turn. I probably would have put in the call in his position. However, you're never going to see me playing 6 deuce offsuit. In the last video, we got a royal flush and quads. And we complete the trifecta in this video with the queen high straight flush. If you're feeling the run good recently and want it to continue, do me a favor right now and drop a like on this video. I really appreciate it. You guys did it. Apparently liking the video worked because the poker gods rewarded me right away with the exact same hand. Pocket jacks once again from the hijack. Under the gun +1 raises to 10. I 3-bet to 27. And like a girlfriend checking up on you on a Friday night when you're out with your boys, he calls. Heads up to the flop with 57 in the pot comes queen, 8, deuce, rainbow. The opponent checks to me, and I think this board is worthy of a down bet. I fire $15, and he calls again. The turn with 87 in the pot comes a 6 of hearts. This card shouldn't change too much, but now the opponent donks into me for $25. Weird line, not really sure what to make of it, but I don't believe him, and I put in the call. The river with 137 in it comes the ace of spades. And the opponent seems to be giving up and checks. I love his check here. Now we can check behind and get to a cheap showdown. He shows 7-8 offsuit for 1 pair. Played an extremely weird way, and we're going to scoop that $137 pot. $450 now in our stack. We look down at ace-king offsuit from the hijack. A new player just sits down in the under the gun position and immediately raises to $25, which is a huge open size. My right puts in the call, and I don't have any info on the under the gun player, but with a premium hand like ace-king here, there's only one move, and that's the 3-bet. I make it $95. Folds back around to under the gun, and he folds, which usually means that the caller is going to fold as well. Folds back around to the under the gun position, and he folds, and the opponent on my right does the same, and we take down $50 uncontested. This guy right here on your screen is another local legend. He goes by the name of Turtle. Remember him, he's going to come back up a few times later on in this video. $515 now in our stack. Look down at King 10 offsuit from under the gun. I think this is a borderline fold from the under the gun position. but in this specific game, I wanted to see as many flops as I could, so I decide here to raise to $11, and we get 2 callers. 3 ways to the flop with 34 in the pot comes king, queen, 8. Decent board for us here, but against 2 other opponents here, I decide to go for some balance, and I throw this hand into my checking range here, and the action surprisingly checks around, so we're off to the turn. Turn comes the 5 of hearts, and now that there's another draw out there, I want to get some value for my top pair and deny some equity to the opponents. I bet $17. Only the player on my right puts in the call, so we're going heads up to the river, which comes the queen of clubs. Not the best card, as it's likely that he would have played a queen in this fashion on the flop and the turn, but I decide to go for some thin value here and bet $12. If he raises, it's a pretty easy fold in my opinion, but that's not what we're faced with. He just calls, and that likely means that we're good here. We show our cards, and sure enough, he mucks, and we take down that $92 pot. $600 now in our stack. We look down at 4-7 of clubs from the big blind. 4 callers, the small blind limps, and I check my option here, so going 6 ways to the flop. Flop comes king, jack, 9, 2 clubs. Small blind bets $10 here, and with my flush draw, I put in the call. The opponent on my left calls, middle position calls, and now the action is on the cutoff. He decides to bump it up here to $46, which is a pretty strong raise. He's basically repping 2 pair plus here, and even though I'm first to act after his raise, I know this table isn't going to come in for another raise. If anything, they're just going to fold or call. So I can pretty safely call here and see a turn. That's what I do. I call, and sure enough, no raises. Just the player on my left puts in the call as well, so we're going 3 ways to the turn. We need a club dealer one time. Doesn't come. Comes a jack of diamonds. Terrible card as it pairs the board, making it less likely that a club on the river would give us the best hand. I check, and the action actually checks around here, so we're going to see another free card here on the river. One more chance to hit our club comes the deuce of spades. I check again here with 7 high, but when the cards are turned over, the cutoff surprises us and shows a jack, and he's going to scoop that pot. My left ends up showing ace king for a top pair, top kicker.
We got a game! That was probably a horrible fold by me with all the money in there. And I obviously would have called.
Remember Turtle from earlier? Well, here he is again winning a pot, and he lets everyone in the casino know.
This is the men's club. The women go in the break room. How much?
$5.50 now in our stack. Look down at ace queen offsuit from the cutoff. Middle position raises to 10, and my right calls. I 3-bet now to $41, looking to isolate, and it folds to the middle position raiser, who now 4-bets to 120. If we take a look at this overnight monster pre-flop chart that I just put up on your screen, you can see that ace queen offsuit is a clear 3-bet, which is what I did. But then when we're faced with a 4-bet by the middle position opener, we're supposed to actually fold. In this situation, the player on my right folds, and I debate calling, but I decide to go for the 5-bet here and ship it in, covering him around $150 more. If we go back to the sheet and look here at this play, the only hands that we should really be 5-betting with are kings, ace king, both the suited and unsuited variety, and aces, but only half the time. It appears that I need to brush up on this course. If you're interested in brushing up on your poker skills as well, I'll put a link down in the description. The opponent in this hand goes into the tank here, which we love to see, but ultimately puts in the call. So we're going off to a run out here. Not really sure what we need to avoid or hit. The flop with 550 in it comes queen of hearts, jack of diamonds, 4 of diamonds. Seems pretty decent for us. We flop top pair. The turn comes the king of clubs. The river comes the 7 of clubs. I show our hand, and surprisingly, it's good. He mucks his hand, and we scoop that pot. Not sure how he won that hand here. It's likely he had a pocket pair like 10s maybe, or ace jack. Either way, strange, but we're going to have to hit the books here and study our 4 and 5 betting ranges. Check back in here with Turtle going nuts again.
Show the camera. Where the hell's he going?
Wow.
Hot diggity dog. We got a player down.
$7.75 now in our stack. We look down at 9-10 of spades from the button. 2 limps to me here, and this is a clear open here on the button. I raise it up to $16. The big blind and Turtle, who is the middle position limper, puts in the call, so going 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes ace 9-9, 2 clubs. Amazing board for our exact hand. We flop trips, We unblock top pair as well, so when it checks to me, I make a standard 1/3 pot size bet here for $16. The big blind folds, but turtle puts in the call. So we're going heads up to the turn here with a wolf and a turtle. 83 in the pot comes a deuce of spades. He checks, and I decide to bet large here now, targeting an ace or a club draw type hand that wants to get sticky. I bet 75 into 83, but unfortunately though, he folds and says that he had 7-8 of diamonds. Let's look at the scoreboard here. Wolf 1, turtle 0. People now start coming into the card room soaking wet, which is strange, so we decide to go to the door and see for ourselves. Turns out it's a pretty decent downpour, and wait, before you go criticizing this California kid, saying that this is a normal Texas rain, we see it all the time. Well, if you're one of those people, I guess it was so normal that the ceiling actually gave out and fell through. Pause this video right now and let me know in the comments what's the craziest thing you've ever witnessed happen in a card room. For me, this has to be up there. I've never seen the ceiling fall through and rain just start pouring through. To the card room's credit though, I have to give a big shout out to Alex on the floor, who handled this situation about as best as he could. We ended up coming back in the next morning to play cards, and the ceiling was as good as new. Hats off to Alex and the whole floor crew at the lodge. After that fiasco, we look down at king-queen offsuit from the cutoff. The hijack raises to 10. I 3-bet to 30 and the small blind calls, and the hijack does as well here, going 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes queen, 10, 6, 2 clubs. Action checks to me here, and I make a standard c-bet for $50. Small blind calls, and the hijack folds here, so going heads up to the turn. 192 in the pot, the turn comes the 5 of diamonds. Pretty much a blank here. The small blind checks in flow again to me. And I look at his stack here, and he has around 150 left. In my opinion, there's really only one option here, and that's what I decide to do. I go all in. If he has a queen, he's not going to be folding, and he's going to pay us off here. And there's really no point in betting half pot and leaving him with around $60 behind on the river. I decide to go all in, and he ends up folding, so we're going to take that pot down. If you decided to ignore me earlier and didn't like this video, you've made it this far. I'll give you one more chance now to give me some good luck here for this last hand. 9-10 on our stack. We look down at king of spades, queen of diamonds from early position. Pause. Thanks for the like. It looks like we got the same exact hand as before. Suit and everything. I think that's because of you guys. I raise it up to 12. The button and the small blind and the big blind all call. So we're going 4 ways to the flop here with 48 in the pot. Flop comes ace of hearts, jack of spades, 7 of spades. Checks to me, and I think this is a decent board for our range. Additionally, we have the gutter to Broadway, and we have the king of spades, which might come in handy later if the board runs out spade, spade. I bet $11 here, and everyone calls, so we're going still 4 ways to the turn. Turn comes the 10 of clubs. Bang! We turn Broadway. Checks to me again here, and now that we finally made our hand, there's no reason to slow down. I bet 2/3 pot now for $75. Small blind calls again, which is pretty strong. And now, an even stronger move, the big blind shoves all in for $199. What's going on here? We have the nuts on the board, and we get called and then shoved on. Looks like a dream spot to me here. We now have a decision between calling and going all in. The small blind, who put in $75, has around $300 total, which is only around $100 more than the $200 all in from the big blind. And we have both players covered. I decide to just rip it and just go all in here, figuring he's not going to be folding too often anyways. Sure enough, the small blind calls, so we're going off to the river 3 ways, and we have the nuts. The river with around 900 in the pot comes the queen of hearts. Spade draw bricks out, so that's good for us, but now we chop with any random king. I show my nuts, the button is inspired and shows his nuts as well, and the big blind has seen enough of our nuts, and he mucks. Later saying that he had 8-9 for the turned straight of the smaller variety. We end up chopping the big blind's money with the small blind. After that crazy hand, we rack up our chips and head to the cage. We get out of the game for $1,012, so a profit of $712 on the session. After that success of a session, we head over to the Domain, which is on the outskirts of Austin, and get some dinner at a place called Culinary Dropout. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend it. We went with our buddy CJ, who's actually a dealer at the lodge. All in all, a great night. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.